Iris,
Hello.
and we were talking about what it's like being an identical twin, growing up an identical twin, and losing an identical twin. So this is interview 2.
Hello again, and so I'm going to continue on, and today we're going to talk about the elementary years, and so when they started off, maybe I think kindergarten.
Yeah, we first went to school in kindergarten, and I guess they had a policy back then where they didn't put twins together in the same classroom, and
Oh my gosh.
we were devastated and heartbroken. And we were just in rooms next to each other, but we didn't get to be with each other.
Oh.
And that was so frustrating. And my sister was the first one to make friends with a girl I'll never forget named Terry. And I'll never forget, she was romping along in the snow on the way home from school with her new friend Terry, leaving me behind, and I was running after them. Wait for me, screaming her name and falling in the snow. And of course, we both became friends with Terry after that, because that's the way it was with twins. We shared our friends, always.
A one friend? Was it always like one?
Yeah, we'd always have like one best friend, but we'd have other friends. We always shared our friends. That's just the way it
Wow.
was.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my gosh. And so, in kindergarten, what kept happening, or what was something that happened? Was it a good experience for you?
No, I
Like,
don't
no.
recall it being a good experience. I hated being separated from my sister. I couldn't understand why we were separated. That's just the way they did it. I don't know if they still do it that way, but back then that's what they did. They separated the
That's
twins.
so awful. That's so awful.
I know.
So, what was the rest of like your elementary years like? Like, were people nice to you? I want to know what people were like, because of course you're beautiful, right? But what was it like being a twin at that time?
I remember one story stands out, and I forget, we went to we'd go to the movies on Saturdays and stuff, and I'll never forget, I went up to go get some popcorn or candy in the middle of the movie, and the woman said to me, "Are you up here again? Why aren't you watching your movie? You're eating too much crap." And
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, she didn't realize my twin had been up.
Oh.
And that made me feel really, really bad. My sister and I were both equally as bad students. We both sucked. We were the artist types. What can I tell you?
Right. I mean, most artists weren't that good at school, and that's
No,
okay because you're
no.
great at other things.
And people ask me, "Did you ever change classrooms or anything?" No, we never actually did do that.
No.
No, we
No.
never did.
Okay. So.
Although we did do something kind of illegal once, but I can't say because we'll probably get arrested if I say it.
Oh. Boy.
We did something. I
Please
couldn't
do
do
tell.
something at one time, so she went and did it for me, only because we're identical twins, but I can't even say what it was, because not that we looked at it as wrong, but society looked at it as wrong, so I can't even unfortunately
Oh my
mention that, so
gosh.
I'll leave that as a big mystery.
I want to know. I don't think I know that one. Oh boy.
I'll have to whisper to you
Gosh.
later.
That's something I want to open that little box. But anyway, but how did other girls how did they treat you? Like, were they jealous, do you think?
No,
Looking back, or?
No, they knew we were a package deal. We had a gang of girls we hung out with. We were all the naughty girls,
Oh, okay.
the ones smoking cigarettes in the bathroom,
Oh, smoking in the girls' room.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And the ones always, having to see the vice principal, and the ones always in detention. Not that we were bad kids. It's just that, we were creative people, and we had, we didn't like going to prison. We thought school was like prison. That's it. And it was.
Oh,
I mean, it
gosh.
looks like, if you look at it, school, it looks like prison.
Well, in the projects, right?
Well, especially in the projects.
Oh, my gosh.
But actually, no, we actually got out of the projects when we were in middle school.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did. We moved up, but now we were the poor kids on the fringes of a very rich school, which was really difficult. So the
Oh.
poor kids kind of hung out with each other, and the
Sure.
rich kids hung out with each other.
It's just like the movies. They have movies like that, right?
Yeah,
Where
that's
it's
the way
like
that's the way it was. I mean, we lived in these small little houses.
Did you
on
take
the
a bus
outskirts.
or anything, or was it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, we had a bus, that we
Yeah,
took to
right.
school.
Oh my gosh.
And
So then what? Okay, so then should we flash forward, or was there something that happened? Something that happened that was kind of detrimental in your
well,
life?
yeah. Well, my dad had gotten remarried and had a new family again, and there was really no place for my sister and I, because my mother was kind of, she had mental problems. I hate to even say mental problems. She was mentally ill, with the
Oh.
alcohol, so she was in and out of institutions. So my sister and I really had no place for her, so we became emancipated minors.
Oh.
at 16, and we had our own apartment at 16, our own little studio apartment in the bowels of Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
And so when school found out about it, they wouldn't let my sister and I attend school anymore because, they were afraid we'd be a bad influence for the rest of the kids having our own apartments. So then we had to go to night school, which was horrible. So my sister and I just said, sod it, forget about it, and we just took off to Florida.
Just like that.
just
Took
like
off
that.
to Florida.
Just took off to Florida. We said, let's start our career now, even though we had no idea what we were doing, no money. We just said, let's just do it.
Now, if that's not a movie, you know what I'm saying?
So many stories to tell within that,
Right?
right? I could be here forever.
So what started next? So what did you like make a band or what happened?
Well, we met some other people when we were in Florida that had a band together, and my sister and I were so green, we didn't know what we were doing. Our biggest experience was being in chorus. I remember when I was in junior high school, I wanted to be in one of the guy bands, but of course I was a woman.
Right, yeah.
You
They're
know,
not
so-
into that then.
No,
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
because, women, I always would say you have to be twice as good as a man to be considered half as good.
Sure, sure.
Right. And I'll never forget, years later when I did do a show in Buffalo, one of the guys from the band said to me, why didn't you ever tell me? I'm like, I try to,
Yeah, right.
But and Pam and I learned from these older musicians, they're much older than we were, how to, sing with chords and how to write songs. And, it was like a school for us.
Well, that
So,
paid off.
so we learned an awful lot. And then
Sure.
after that, our first band, Gypsy Queen. There were a lot of years we had to wait tables, work in bars, that sort of thing.
Doing this stuff that
Doing this
yeah.
stuff, and Pam and I not knowing how we're going to eat the next day.
Right.
Lots of stuff like that. We had a little bucket once called, before we got another job, because we were traveling around, called the Twins Need to Eat Fund. So we would pick flowers from people's lawns and sell them,
Oh my gosh.
And then we had more money, so we bought some candy. We would sell candy. We were just trying to.
Yeah.
And I forget, and we were staying in this crappy little motel, just the two of us. And Pam looked under the bed. I don't know what made her look under the bed, and she found a gold watch. So we were able to pawn it and bought ourselves a couple extra days. Just things like that we went through. I mean, Pam and I were
Resourceful.
we had to we had to survive. It was
You
just
had
the
to
two
do
of
what you
us.
got to do.
But it was the two of us, so we had each other. I can't even imagine what that would have been like doing it alone.
Right.
So finally, we got a stable band, Gypsy Queen, that went through a lot of different players and stuff. But it was our first stable band. We were able to work and able to establish ourselves, and we were finally able to get our own real apartment
Wow.
and have a life. And it was like
And this is in
amazing.
Florida?
This was in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you start like touring around and stuff, or?
Not at first. First, we just played a lot of clubs, and which
Mm-hmm.
was so great because some people would make fun of you playing clubs and doing covers, which we would also incorporate originals into as well
Mm-hmm.
at first. But that's how you really get your chops. That's how you
Right.
really learn, by studying other artists.
Sure.
That's where you really get good, and you
Yeah.
have to do it 6 nights a week. And Saturday night, Pam and I would be like, we'd be like this. We couldn't even talk, because we'd be screaming, Zeppelin and Def
Sure.
Leppard and Aerosmith, all night long. And maybe you'd have one day a week off. You were screwed if a gig went from Monday to, let's say, Saturday, and then another gig started on Sunday. Then you'd really be in trouble.
Right. And then how many sets a night, right?
Right. Sometimes you'd be doing 4 or 5 shows a night.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a lot. So we would have a little game that we would do, though. Like if one of us was hoarse and the other one wasn't, the other one would sing for the other one, and the other one would turn around when the other one mouthed it.
That's so funny.
So she'd be singing behind me, and I'd be like, but when both of us were hoarse, oh my God, it was a real problem.
Really?
It'd be just we'd have to somehow wing it and get through it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you made it happen though.
You really, really start depending on that diaphragm then,
Sure.
You
Sure.
reach down to every nook and cranny of your body and get that strength and get that voice out.
But you both have a natural ability to sing. I mean, you're already gifted. That was your thing. You didn't have to really take a lesson.
No,
Right. I mean,
no. My lesson was in the clubs every night. That was my
Right.
lesson.
and it made you better and better and better. I mean,
Yeah.
that really, yeah. I mean, people wanted to sing like you.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, thanks.
So, did you want to talk about the next band, maybe? Or you were Gypsy Queen for a long time.
Yeah. Pam and I were Gypsy Queen for a long time, and like I said, we got to tour all over the world. And
Didn't you play Russia?
Yes, we played communistic Russia a few months before the wall came down as young ladies, and that was really amazing to do that. And we got to just play everywhere. And our first gig, I think, was at Reading Festival in England. Our first gig over in Europe, which was like,
Oh, didn't you do?
all of a sudden you're on stage and there's like thousands and thousands of people. Like, whoa,
Right.
how'd I get here?
I mean, I don't know at what point that I remember something about London and Abbey. Was it Abbey Road? Or
Oh, no. Abbey Road Studios, where we had strings and stuff put on a couple of our songs.
Oh,
Yeah, which
gosh.
was really exciting.
I know. You know what? You've had such a long, you know, of touring all over the world that there's so many stories. I mean,
And well, touring the United States was fun too.
oh gosh.
I mean, you know,
We're putting way too much in this because there's so many stories.
because
It's so
some
exciting.
of our band members can remember, you know, funny stories about particular clubs we played at and what people would do, you know. But Pam and I we had this big road case, and it was called Big Red, and it was painted red because of our red hair, and you opened it up and it was like a big closet. She had her clothes on one side, I had my clothes on another.
Wow.
And of course, you know, we would like, if her clothes were really stinky, she would like sneak and take my clothes and change them. And I'd go, hey, or somebody had a hole. Somebody had a hole in one of their things. All of a sudden, this isn't mine. You know, somehow they get switched.
Was she a little bit more?
And I did it too.
Was she a little bit out of the two of you? Who was a little bit more messier, or was one more?
Definitely,
you know?
Pam was the messier person. But for a while, the two of us would only carry one purse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, when we first had our own apartment together, you know, it's like we didn't need two purses. We only had one car, which we shared, and we had one purse. It's like, who's got the purse? You have the purse. I've got the purse. We had one wallet, one bank account. It was just like we were one person. I would always tell people we were such a big being that we had to take two bodies.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I would tell people. We were one big being that was so big it had to take two bodies.
Wow. I wonder if all twins are like that. I wonder how that is.
Some are.
you
Pam and I
know?
did meet other identical twins that weren't as close as we were, and we could never understand that. Like,
Right.
really, you guys live far away from each other and you don't have the same line of work? We'd always find that so amazing and so
Yeah.
surprising
Yeah.
because we were so kindred. We always wondered, are
Sure.
other twins as close as we are? You know, we'd always wonder
Yeah,
that.
that's fascinating. I don't understand that either, especially if you're identical, right? So
Yeah.
that must be so weird.
Yeah. So, like, my sister and I had so many amazing experiences together, but then we'd have knockout, drag-out fights. I'll never forget one time when we were in London, and we had a lot of interviews to do the next day for some magazines. And I guess we drank too much the night before, and the two of us had a knockdown, drag-out fight in our hotel room. I mean, I'm talking about a bad fight. And I was actually physically stronger than my sister, even though I was the runt of the litter. I was actually physically stronger. Like, I used to pick her up on stage and carry her around, things like that. But I would let her have a go at me. I would let her, I would let her hit me and punch me because I don't want to be like, the dominant one all the time. So I woke up the next morning after our knockdown, drag-up fight, and I had scratches on my face.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, we looked like utter hell, and I had to go to an interview with a hat on, with my hair like this.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
that was in a tabloid or something or a magazine.
No, but it was just funny that we experienced all that stuff together. But God forbid someone else say something bad about my twin to me, or vice versa.
No.
It's so
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
But I would never give up anything for that experience all those experiences I had with my twin sister. I mean, I was blessed, but at the same time, it's a sword. It cuts both ways. It hurts to lose that love as well. I was so blessed to have it, but at the same time, cursed to lose it, if you know what I mean.
I can't imagine it because being a twin, there's nothing like that. So, but we don't know what it's like being singletons, as she put, earlier on another segment. So us being single people, being like an only child, let's say, and her being identical twin and not having her identical twin anymore, and that loss, I still don't understand.
Yeah, if I really start thinking about it too much, I start getting really tearful. So what I do is I redirect my thoughts into more positive stuff. When I'm talking about this now, I'm doing it from kind of detached state.
Right. I'm
Because
sure.
if I get into every nook and cranny about it, I'll get very emotional and start crying. So I kind of treat it as if I'm up here talking about it. That's the best way for me to get through it. So what I want to talk about later in another segment is later on in our career, what happened after our band disbanded. We got another band,
Right,
Cellmates.
Okay.
When we came out to California,
Mm-hmm.
which we were, thinking what name could we possibly call it. And for some reason, we thought we were both reading the book Papillon at the time because she'd read a book and I'd read it, and then it was always that way. We'd always share books, and we were reading a book called Papillon, and we just thought, oh, Cellmates, yeah, that makes sense with identical twins, and so. We'll pick up the story from there about when I got married and was my first break of independence for my sister, and what that meant for the two of us and how that affected our relationship and when I first had my children, etc. So
Sure. Well, and then we will come back to your show, and we're going to take up where we left off here. And thank you so much for being on your show again and letting me be part of it. And I love the stories, and thank you for being with us. And stay tuned for our next segment, and you're going to hear lots more about the exciting new band and venture that they came to California for this great record deal situation that was pretty big. And
and then actually once again I'm going to put a link onto this video of the song I wrote for Pam.
yeah,
Pam's song.
Pam's song.
It came from my heart, and it's so special. Actually, I wrote lots of songs about her, but this particular one called Pam's song.
Yeah,
All
Pam's
right.
song.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for tuning in, guys,
Okay.
and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you, Paula.